Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to another special episode of Grading the Market, part of the Sweep the League TV network. Like Rudy says, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You don't want to get left behind. He is Anthony Turk. Make sure you give him a follow at GiantDad21. Today, we're joined by Daniel Casares, and he's going to be teaching us a little bit about Magic the Gathering. Daniel, we've been seeing this kind of like pop up all throughout the city and especially in the hobby world and stuff like that. And Anthony and I, full disclosure, we don't know too much about Magic the Gathering, but we are a card show and we have seen that these cards have been moving. So we had to get somebody to teach us about it. That's why we wanted to get you in. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. So Magic is it's like one of the oldest card games around that's like still kind of popping. And when it first started off, it was like a 60 card format where you just like open a couple packs in the set, and then you just kind of make a 60 card deck with it, and then you just kind of go from there. But now the more popular format in Magic the Gathering, because there's like different ways you can play Magic the Gathering. There's not like one set in stone. But the most popular one right now is Commander, which is you get a legendary creature, which is like the name, like this type of the card, and then you would make that like the face of your deck. So everything you build is going to be right around that creature, like when it comes to like colors, and then like just like the play style that the card kind of wants you to kind of go with. So some cards in Magic the Gathering can be a little bit complex, and there's some that are just like, all right, get this creature super big and kill someone with like just life points. So I mean, we can talk about the whole I guess like the way Magic the Gathering is kind of like set up for someone to play 1v1 or like with other people, but Pedro can help me out.
Just to give you a heads up, we're also joined by Pedro Villa Garcia as well. He's a Magic the Gathering player as well, so he's going to go ahead and help us out with that too.
Hey, Pedro. Hey, Daniel, man. Thanks, guys, for joining. This is, for fellow, card collectors, right? Regardless of what area you're in, right? You always see these cards, right? Whether you're collecting sports cards, Pokemon, right? You always see these cards, and often you're curious, like, hey, what's that? So, out of curiosity, physically what's required to play this game? Is it just simply the cards, 60 cards, and you're good to go? You can go find somebody, play, or is there a board game, or are there somewhere to keep score? Like what physically do you need?
There a shot clock or something like that?
Well,
yeah.
I mean, at a minimum, you really just need the cards, right? And that's it. Whether you're playing standard or a 60 card format, or whether you're playing 100 cards, you really just need the cards. But most players, you'll also have dice to keep track of your life totals or any interaction on the board. You'll have like a playmat. That way your cards aren't just on the table, especially, if you're kind of fond of them. You can also get protection sleeves. Most people, if you go to a game store, they will have their cards, the card sleeves to protect the cards themselves, and a playmat, and usually a set of dice as well. That's usually what you always see, and you can usually play that wherever you want, anywhere you want. In fact, even me and Daniel, sometimes we play like at Whataburger, we've played at game stores, anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah. Pedro, you talk about the playing, and like you or Daniel, kind of like walk us through what this the actual game is, because we have seen like there are actually some shops around the city. We have one locally here in the neighborhood that they're opening up, and they're just they're devoted just pretty much to Magic and stuff like that. And we see like late nights where they have like these parties where just the parking lot is just full. And they were just like, oh, what's going on over there? And they were like, oh, they're playing Magic the Gathering. And it was like, but can you walk us through a little bit of the actual gameplay?
Sure. So, I mean, Daniel's very rule savvy. So if you have anything, man, just step in. But, objective of the game is to defeat your opponents, right? Whether that's multiplayer or single player. The most basic way to do that is through doing damage. There are some special interactions that you can do there, but 9 times out of 10 is going to be through doing damage. You do that via creatures, and you go in, you play by turns, right? A player starts their turn, they draw a card, they do what's called an upkeep, and they untap their permanents, which we're going to bit into the weeds there. But after that, you move into your main phase. That's when you can do stuff. You can play spells, you can cast creatures, anything you want. Then you move into combat, which is when you start actually declaring who you want to attack and with what. The other players, they have an opportunity to defend, right? They have the declare blocker step. Then after that, you do the combat, you do the damage. Once that's over, you go into your second main phase, which is where you can do anything that you didn't get to do in the first main phase. And after that, you go into your end phase, my bad. And that's just when you discard down to hand size, you just clean up your board and you pass the turn, and you rinse and repeat that over and over until only one remains.
Wow, thanks. Once again, we're joined today by Daniel Casares and Pedro Villa Garcia, and we're just going to be talking about Magic the Gathering. They're letting us know, like, hey, we are a card show, and this is the latest thing. Like Anthony said just a while ago, we've seen those. We primarily collect sports cards, and when we go to shows, we could see like the craze for the sports cards, and now we have these Magic cards right next to them, and when you go and visit it, you can see those things are flying off the shelves just as quick as these sports cards are. We're like, what the hell is going on, man? That's pretty cool.
So out of curiosity, and pardon the novice question, right? Whoever's watching, probably they're gonna hear this question and be like, oh my God, these two idiots, right? But I just don't know much about it, right? I think I sort of got the gist of how the game plays out. I guess the part that I'm missing is, so you got 60 cards. How do you sort of declare which of your 60 cards you're going to make available for somebody for you to either fight with and or defend?
Mm-hmm. I think that comes a lot toward deck building, and Daniel's really good at that, so I'll let him take on.
So just depending on the format that you're like kind of more focusing on, if it's the 60 card or the 100 card, the 60 card, you can choose up to any color, really. There's 5 colors in Magic the Gathering. There's going to be blue, which is identified through islands. White is plains. Black is swamps. Red is mountains. And then green is forest. So each of these colors will kind of navigate the way that you play the game. If you're playing like the color blue, it's going to be more interaction based, where if someone's trying to cast a spell or do something, blue players are more like in control, right? So if you have an opponent that's like, all right, I'm going to cast this spell, this is going to do 3 damage to your life total. As a blue player, you're able to interact with that and do actions where you can end up countering that spell where it just doesn't happen. All right. Or you can play in a way where you just want all of your creatures to get big enough so that nothing can stop them when you're attacking your opponent. So like the way the game plays is you have your creatures that when you are declaring your attackers, they're mostly going towards the player, right? The opponent. And the only thing that the opponent can do in that action is have their creatures block the ones that are like targeting them, right? So the whole premise of the game is just like the person that is playing is a wizard, and their deck is their library, right? So as they're opening their library, they're choosing spells that they have at their disposal to kind of like play and defeat another wizard, right? So that's kind of like, if that helps you kind of like imagine the game, then that's one way to do it.
It does, Daniel, real quick. So, I'm trying to imagine this, right?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So will the person that sort of declares their first set of cards first, are they sort of at a disadvantage because their opponent can now sort of choose their deck based on the cards that you've declared?
Yeah. So let me see. So when it comes to you already having your deck made, right? Get there. like when you're playing with opponents, like you see like those two decks right there. There's the proliferate one, and there's like another one where it's like
He's referring to the ones on the lower right, on the
yes,
lower right corner.
yeah, those
Okay,
are
okay.
what we call pre-constructed decks, right? So Magic the Gathering or Wizards of the Coast, which is the company that creates Magic the Gathering, they create already built decks, right? So they're pre-constructed. They already have a game plan. They explain it very well in this set. So when they open up the backs, they can sleeve up their cards, and then they'll have like a pamphlet that would describe and explain, okay, this is your play style. This is what you're going to try to keep doing throughout the game to help you win, right?
Okay.
So in this format, Commander is the more popular one. So when we talk about Magic the Gathering, me and Pedro, we mostly are playing and talking about Commander because that's the most popular like format, right?
Okay.
So you would choose your creature. It has to be a legendary creature, right? So what I mean by that is you would see like that creature in the front. We'll just say like the insect-looking one, right? So he would be a legendary creature, and then he would have text. But the most important part are the identifiers for his colors, right? So you would see, all right, he has a mountain, a red, and a green, which is forest. So those three colors are the only ones you can choose when you're building your deck, right?
Okay.
So if you
So
try,
yeah, so your creature is sort of like your leader, right? He's like the lead for your representing your deck of cards or your. Okay, I got you.
exactly. So
I got you.
you can only limit yourself to those colors when you're building that deck, and as you're building, you want to make sure that the deck is built kind of towards like what the commander wants you to do, right? The leader, I guess you can say, and like that's how the playstyle will kind of go.
Okay.
When
Okay.
you arrive with that deck and someone else comes and they also want to play against you, there's something called like Rule Zero, where in the game, like if someone's playing at a more competitive level,
Mhm.
right? You don't want to play with someone that's at a more competitive level when you're trying to be more casually playing, right? Because there's ways in the game where you can win like very early in the game, right? Like if you're on your second turn, some people can win like on that turn, right? Which is like relatively very fast. But like more casual gameplay will kind of look like it may take like 10, maybe 12 turns before anybody can do anything really. And
Yeah.
it can last like about an hour, maybe even two. I think me and Chris have played games where we stayed up like till 1 a.m. and it was like the same game. And
Yeah.
it's just like casual gameplay, and people like playing that way because it's more time getting used to like their deck, like playing almost every card that's in there. Because with
Mhm.
cards, it's kind of difficult to like see every card when you play it because you're always constantly shuffling it up, drawing whatever you need like for each turn, and sometimes you don't like you would have a card that's in there and you don't even see it for like a whole month or so, even after playing the game consistently.
Yeah.
So like long gameplay is bittersweet for some people because they're like, all right, I want this game to be over, but some
Mhm.
people are just like, all right, maybe I want this game to go another hour.
So
So
they intentionally draw it out.
yeah, sometimes they intend to go out, and it's just like for the love of the game. Like the
Yeah.
more you play,
Yeah.
the more you're like making your money's worth because Magic the Gathering can be a little expensive, So, but yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about like the way that the game will kind of work when you're just kind of starting out, right?
Hey
I-
Daniel,
I
real
got-
quick, I know you touched on these boxes that we're looking at right here, like in the lower right. You said they're starting off as like I guess like beginners boxes, but
Yes.
can you run us through like what some of these things would cost that we're looking at, like this bundles and stuff like that?
Yeah. So, I'm not too sure on the like because MSRP doesn't really work with Magic the Gathering anymore since they kind of got rid of it. But on average, any TCG that you would go to, any local game store, play boosters will cost you around just the whole box itself. maybe around $150, right?
Yeah,
But
sounds about right.
each pack individually will run about maybe 5 to 10, based on like the popularity of the series, right? So you
Mhm.
can go like all the way back from when Magic the Gathering first started, which was like maybe around the early 90s. Um,
Yeah, with Alpha. Yeah.
yeah, alpha, beta, those packs will cost you about like $1,000, $10,000 a pack because of how rare those cards are. But whenever they're popping out with like new sets, new series, like those play boosters will cost you around 150. And then the collector boxes, because the art on those cards are so rare, and like they're foiled, they look a lot prettier. Those will run you about maybe $400 for just the box itself. And
Yeah.
there's not many packs in that box because of like the rarity of those cards, right?
But when you say like $400 for that box, are you saying retail, or this is like aftermarket because it's so short? Somebody scoops
Yeah.
them up and then is reselling it on eBay for $400.
No, yeah, this
No,
is
you probably kept that retail, like $400 retail.
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, I think it has to be mentioned that a lot of the ballooning in price with the Magic the Gathering products has to do with how popular it's gotten recently. I mean, nowadays Magic has so many collaborations with other intellectual properties in game that's called the Universes Beyond. And I mean, if you want to play, if you like Lord of the Rings, you can play Lord of the Rings characters. If you're a fan of Doctor Who, Transformers, those cards now exist in game. We've gotten Marvel, for anyone that really likes Marvel, you can play the Infinity Gauntlet. You can play the Soul Stone, Spider-Man, Wolverine. That has kind of ballooned the price a bit for a lot of stuff. Because I remember when I first started playing Magic, one of those precons, the pre-constructed decks, it used to run you maybe $60 at most, and those were like the top of the line ones. Nowadays, you get some of the like these two decks. We went to a game store not too long ago, me and Daniel. You don't see them for less than $110,
Yeah. Wait, wait,
right?
wait,
And
wait. Let's go back real quick.
mhm.
So you're telling me they got Magic Transformer cards out there?
Yeah, no, yeah, you can play you can have Optimus Prime as your commander. He can be in your deck. You can play him, and alongside Optimus Prime, you can have Doctor Who, and then you can also have Wolverine on there.
Yeah.
And there's also other IPs like Warhammer. I don't know if y'all know Warhammer 40K. That's in there as well. I mean, now they're like mixing them up. If you're into manga, they have Junji Ito. If you're into like Japanese culture, they have Hatsune Miku. I know that, popular over there. They have Kirby, My Little Pony. I mean, they're going like everywhere. They're trying to get as much as possible. And that's not saying those cards are good or bad. It's just that it's expanding the format and it's making it more accessible. In fact, just when was it? I think it was Thursday when we went and played with Daniel. I went to a restaurant and a guy saw me with my deck box and he said that he got into Magic like, a week ago because of a Final Fantasy deck that had dropped because he's a big fan of Final Fantasy. And he's always played that game. And so he wanted to kind of bridge the gap and he did. And now he's playing. And, for any new players out there, as Daniel said, like Commander is the most popular format, but it also exists in a weird kind of middle ground because it's also the most casual. And so it all comes down to who you're playing. There's been many a night that I've gone over to a game store and I'm going there with a freshly built deck. It's honestly just sucks. But everybody else at the table, they're playing competitively, right? And you're just kind of wipe the floor with them. And there's other times like when we're playing with our play group, we're honestly just playing just to have fun, right? We're asking each other like, hey, can you not kill me? Cause I want to do something cool next turn. Or other games we're like, no, we're trying to win like right now, just so we can play as many games as possible.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Well,
Hey,
I tell you what, I'm gonna be the Final Fantasy guy if I find out that there's like a New York Giants like pack that comes out.
it's gonna be over. Hey, real quick, here at Great in the Market, man, we're a card show. Anthony and myself, we're card collectors. we collect pretty much anything when it comes to deal with cards. We like seeing heat. And, Lisa jumps in here. Are there Magic cards that are worth a lot of money? If so, which are they? And I think that's a question that Anthony and myself would like to know as well. It's like, hey man, is there are we looking? Should we be keeping an eye out for that Optimus Prime Magic?
Well,
or
before you guys answer, I'd like to add to that. If so, right? Because I think I know what the answer is going to be as far as certain cards being more valuable than others. What do players do? Like guys that like to play, do you play those cards, or are these like, no, these are going into a safe, these are going somewhere else? What happens?
Well, so the way that I look at
you
it
could
is
throw a slab on the table. Like, is that what happens?
it can be. It can be like that.
Bam! Like,
it's my PSA.
It can be like that. Yeah, like some cards. I mean, like with most collectibles, there are two avenues to value, right? One of them is scarcity and rarity, right? I mean, imagine like I'm not a big like a sports card fan, but imagine a baseball card signed by Babe Ruth, right? I mean, that thing goes on a pedestal, protected. Same thing with Magic. There are some cards from, say, Alpha, the very first set, that gameplay wise, maybe they're not that great, right? Like they don't do much, as more so by modern standards. But the simple fact of like the impact they had on Magic, that remains it. There's one card in Magic called Black Lotus. It's not legal in almost any format. You can only play it in very limited formats. The card itself is worth I think I last time saw it for like $3,000 in conditioned PG8, not even a mint. And I mean, that's really just a collector's item, right? And it's a powerful card, but it's just there. On the flip side, you have cards that say are valuable just because they're powerful. There's a lot of cards in Magic that we call tutors, because they let you go and find a card. Almost all of those cards, you're going to find them above $20 to $30, right? You'll find specific arts, maybe being in the 70s or 80s. And the only reason why they're so valuable is because the community says, hey, these cards are powerful. Mm-hmm. And so those are the two kind of things that navigate price. If I was somebody who was getting into collecting for Magic, my first advice would be get into it just because you like the art. That's how I started. They look nice. They're a good showpiece. If you build memories with your friends with them, all the better. And, down the line, that card may skyrocket in value. It's a little bit like gambling because it may also not. It may also go down.
So you said something that caught my attention, Pedro. So you said that some of these cards, they're powerful because the community says that they would be. How does that happen? Wouldn't the rule and wouldn't what's on the card tell you how not necessarily valuable, but
yeah. So I can help you out with this one. So the way that when Pedro says it's kind of based on what the community says, it's more of the playability. Oh, excuse me, the playability of the card, right? If you have a deck that's very popular in terms of color, right? So I think the most popular color scheme would just be blue and red. Everybody that that plays Magic the Gathering will have a blue and red deck, right?
Okay, I'm tracking that.
So there's a card for example, Ristic Study, right? So whenever someone is playing a card, you are able to draw a card unless the person that's playing the card ends up paying 1 mana. So mana is the source that we use to play these cards, right? Because you can't just play them for free, right? There has to be a limit to how many spells you can cast as a wizard, right? Sure. So you need what is called mana. You store the mana by playing lands, right? And these lands will help you cast these spells. So the more that you draw, right, the more advantage you have in the game, right? So when someone's casting a spell and you're like, hey, are you going to pay the 1 to prevent me from drawing? Usually they're going to say no because they only have a limited amount of mana to use to cast spells, and nobody's going to want to spend resources that they're trying to use to to prevail in the game, to just prevent you from just drawing one card. But sometimes it can go out of hand, right? Like someone can be casting a whole bunch of spells, and by the time the person that's drawing the cards with Rhystic Study turns, they have like half their deck in their hand, right? And that's insane sometimes. So the playability of the cards is kind of like what skyrockets the price, right? And Rhystic Study is a good example because it has been relevant since it came out, and it's always at the same consistent $45 range just because of how playable this card is. And any other card that you would read in Magic the Gathering, like the tutors, for example, like anybody can play these cards in any deck because it's versatile. Like you can search for anything, right? So cards like that, it's always just playability, not just like the beauty of the card. Because sometimes the card can look really pretty, but only cost like 30 cents. So
real quick, we got a question in from one of our viewers. Elias is in here from Pleading the Sith, and he says, I guess, did the 1-of-1 Magic the Gathering, what is it? LOR card, really
Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. Okay, I don't know if it was really Lord of the Rings. Go for 2
Yes,
million. So is that real?
Yes.
So, that was true. There's a card in Magic called the One Ring, like from the Lord of the Rings, the one that Sauron has, and it is a very powerful card. It is just off the bat, it is a very powerful card. But Wizards of the Coast released a special version of it, a serialized version of it. And usually when they release a serialized card, it's like out of 200 or 500. It's a good pool that you can pull from. But for the One Ring, to kind of stay on brand, it's a 1-of-1. And so when somebody pulled it, I think we found it in the US, and then Post Malone, actually, I believe it was Post Malone, paid the person that found it $2 million for that card. And now that card just sits in Post Malone's personal collection.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. Elias jumps in here. He says, that's crazy, man. And I think Post Malone, there you go, scoop that up. It's crazy. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we're gonna have to start getting some Magic the Gathering cards, Anthony. What do you say, man? Yeah. Hey, once again, go ahead.
No. The game seems interesting, right? I growing up, maybe a little bit later as a child or young man, I got into the like Final Fantasy, right, and into that sort of world of gaming with HP and wizardry and that kind of stuff. So I 100% get the excitement behind it. It's it's a really cool hobby. It's just you get into the things that you get into, right, and you have your fill of those things, and then you kind of don't have space for others. I 100 if Magic the Gathering was one of the things that I had gotten to as a kid or even as a young man, I definitely see how I'd still be playing and still be involved.
Definitely. It sounds like fun. I guess I'm going to have to look in whenever, Daniel, whenever you're playing Pedro a game or something like that, so that way I can catch on. Hey, well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start wrapping it up here. Daniel, Pedro, for everybody who's like watching and who maybe has some more questions or would like to know more about Magic the Gathering, Daniel, go ahead and let them know, hey, how can they reach you and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm usually constantly scrolling through Instagram Reels. So you can find me at Daniel._.san. But the E is going to be a 3. So you can reach me out on Instagram. I'll usually answer.
There you go. Pedro, how can they reach out to you if they have any questions?
The easiest way for me is going to be through Twitter. My Twitter is Peter Tonium. That'll find me. You should see me chasing Giant Donut from the Simpsons series, the Giant Donut from what's it called? I think it's Lard Boy or something like that. That's where you can find me. And for anyone that wants to learn, there's a lot of media out there. Go to a game store, meet some people, the community here in San Antonio and really just everywhere, they're very good people. So if you're a new person, you want to try and find out what the scene looks like, how to play, I encourage y'all to go to a game store. I mean, you're going to be well received. I'll tell you that much. You're always going to be well received. New players are always welcome in the community.
There you go. There you go. Hey, once again, I appreciate both of y'all. Dan, did you have something, Daniel?
Yeah, I also wanted to point out every Friday at any TCG that has Magic available, we'll also have a Magic the Gathering night. So every
Mhm.
Friday, it's kind of like just like a common known thing that Magic has started. So Friday Night Magic, any
Magic, yeah.
TCG that runs it, it's gonna be popping with Magic the Gathering players.
There you go. There you go. Hey, once again, everybody, we just want to thank y'all all for joining us this Sunday for Grading the Market. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So on behalf of Daniel, Pedro, Anthony, I am Jacob Eric Cancino. Thanks again for joining us on this episode of Grading the Market, part of Sweep the League TV network. Y'all have a good one, guys. Thanks again for being on the show with us.
Yep. Thanks for the input,
Thanks
guys.
for having us.